It is Manchester City versus Chelsea this weekend. City have failed to beat Chelsea in the last two meetings. Both have now ended in draws. Chelsea back to winning ways after beating Wolves 3-1 at Stamford Bridge. City, as we know, their last game in the Prem, they thumped Ipswich 6-0, but of course did lose to PSG, halting that momentum there. Cole Palmer, 14 goals in the Prem so far this season. Haaland with 16, bit of a head-to-head there.
Excuse me.
Nicky, looking at this game, I mean, who's going to win this game? Because both teams are open to conceding goals. They're end-to-end teams, and City are going to have their absolute heads to pick up after that defeat to PSG.
This is a real tough one because both teams they've been shocking lately. I mean, Chelsea have they started brilliantly. People started touting them for the league, but a bit of inexperience has come in, I think, and they've dropped their heads a little bit. It happens in the season. Man City. I went to Man City 3-4 weeks ago now. Watched them. They beat us 4-1.
Fulkrug scored, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yeah, but they were shocking. They were shocking.
They been 2 up before.
Yeah. If we would, I think if we'd have had Potter now, then I think we'd have beat them. And that's the God's honest truth. And I know that's crazy to say when they're in shocking form. I mean, I've got no clue what's gone on there. I did say at the beginning of the season I fancied Arsenal for the title because when you've won like 4 titles, you sort of better players start to get a little bit older, a little bit, the legs start going. You can't rely so much on the De Bruynes and players like that, and Kyle Walker's who's going to be moving soon. I said they might lose a little bit of focus and a little bit of. I never thought in a million years it'd be like this. They're unrecognisable under Guardiola, and I never thought Guardiola would be in this position. I really didn't. That's a real hard one. But do you know what? I'm going to go with Chelsea on this one because I think they've just got the edge. Because Man City are more collapses than I've ever seen in the last 10 years in crazy, probably 2 months. It's mad. It's crazy.
You wonder what's gone on there. Like, because that's twice in recent weeks they've been 2-0 up.
Yeah.
Listen, I know it's like at the weekend we were 2-0 up as well, but for City twice to be 2-0 up, they were 2-0 up against PSG, against the run of play, by the way, because PSG should have been winning that game. But they were 2-0 up in that game, they threw it away. They were 2-0 up against Brentford, threw that away. They can't seem to defend at the moment, and that midfield seems to get run through every week. And I don't know, man, Chelsea have got the players to exploit those weaknesses.
Yeah.
100%.
And, is it the off-field stuff that is affecting them? The 115 charges thing still looming. Even Pep, his personal life, he split up with his wife. Those things can take a toll. You know what I mean? Like they can take a toll on him personally because he looks stressed every time you see him. Yeah. I mean, obviously he's used to winning, innit? So we're not used to seeing him like this, but he's looking stressed and they just look all over the place. Now, they have freshened it up a bit. They made a couple of signings. That Mamouche has been announced today. Maybe he might, get a start. Maybe that might give them a little boost. But it's a tough game for them. You know what I mean? The Ipswich game, that's 6-0 against Ipswich. Ipswich are in the bottom 3. Ipswich, they're trying and they're working hard, but they're not a top side. Chelsea are a top side. You know what I mean? Chelsea have got good players. They've got players like Cole Palmer that's been on fire this season. They've got players that can hurt you going forward. But then Chelsea as well, defensively, have been a bit vulnerable, although bringing in Chalobah is going to help them out. And, but they did look a bit vulnerable at the back, Chelsea, in that game against Wolves in little patches of that game. So it's going to be a really interesting one. It's at the Etihad, isn't it?
Yeah, 5:30 kickoff on Saturday. Chelsea have just kept 1 clean sheet in their last 16 Premier League away games at City, Rob.
Wow. But I don't know, man. I think I'm with you, Nicky, man. I could see Chelsea.
I think they're the better side at the moment.
I could see Chelsea nicking this or a draw. Okay. You know what I mean? I think it's one of the. Something's not. I don't know. They look so fragile at the moment. City. You never thought you'd say that.
I think they're
about City being fragile, but they do, innit? They look fragile.
Beautiful to see, though.
But I think they've also trying to take some sort of pressure off of the side by that 10-year. I mean, that's unprecedented. This 10-year contract that they give him, 115 months, I believe it is, which I think is a bit of a tongue-in-cheek thing about what they're facing. 115 charges, 115 months, and all that. But I think they're just trying to take a little bit of pressure off of what's going on the field, because it's not right. It's not. I mean, I've never been to Man City, and again, we lost 4-1, and I think that it was mistakes by us. It wasn't the brilliance of Man City. I've been to Man City before, and we haven't even touched the ball barely. But there's so many gaps that we, even as poor as we are, that we exploited. And I've never seen a side like this. I think there's something in this. I've been told a couple of things. I won't say them on camera, but they are facing some serious charges, and I think that they're trying to take that sort of reflect off of that by giving people like Haaland long contracts. If we knew we was going to get punished, we wouldn't be giving him this. But there's something definitely not right there. Definitely not right.
I agree. And you mentioned, Pep going through a bit of turbulence off the pitch. I heard one of the key reasons was when he told his ex-wife, we've got to stay in Manchester for 2 more years. She said, no chance. I'm getting off there. Absolutely.
That's a Liverpool fan talking.
Fantastic
Hey, listen, my brother lives in
not for
Manchester,
me.
man. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And he
big up your brother, man.
and he
Big
actually
him
loves it,
up.
actually.
Big him up.
He loves
But
it.
you're right. You're seeing Kyle Walker now going to AC Milan.
Yeah.
Mateus Nunes at right back there. I mean, that's just not going to work. No matter how good you are against Barcolas and Fabian Ruiz, it's just not going to work.
Well, they made a couple of
Dembele.
signings, didn't it? They brought in that Turson.
I just wonder if he's going to give them enough time to do that big rebuild again.
Yeah.
Because, there's always... I mean, I know he signed another contract, but that's a big rebuild, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
Listen, I think
100%.
it's good for the league that, I would say that as an Arsenal fan.
Yeah,
I
well,
think it's good for the league that they're not just running away with it as they normally do. But on all that, though, if they win this weekend, beat Chelsea, that could be the sort of start of their legendary runs that they go on sort of at the start of the year.
I can't see it, Rob.
I can't see it this time around, but you never know. That's how, if I'm Pep, that's how I'm approaching it. I'm like, right, guys, this is the start of it. We won 6-0 last week, beat Chelsea, and we're kind of almost back in it again.
Back in it's a bit of a stretch, I'd say.
Yeah,
but I know what you're saying.
We can
Momentum
threaten.
wise,
We can start to threaten because they got us after. They got to come to the Emirates after that. So they've got a couple of weeks where, even cementing top 4 then. By beating Chelsea and beating us, they start to move towards cementing.
Yeah, I mean, that's a real danger. We're getting like, it's what, 22 games, 23 games?
22 games
They
into
ain't got
it.
long to be able to turn it around. And they have these results and you think, yeah, they're going to turn it now. But they just seem to revert back to...
What's crazy, what I just thought about, right, which is just crazy thought in my head, just came to my head, is that suppose they don't, because this new format, they didn't beat Bruges next week. They're out.
Yeah.
And there's no dropping into the Europa League. You're just out, right? So then that means it is top 4. If you don't get that top 4, you're out of the Champions League. City not being in the Champions League.
It would be beautiful. And also, Rob,
It'd
don't
be
forget,
crazy.
if City do win this game, they leapfrog Chelsea, and then Chelsea have got some big issues to face.
Chelsea is...
Because it's, like Phil Foden said after the Ipswich game, it's a fight for the top 4 for City at the minute. So it's a massive weekend, and the table could look very different come this time Monday, for sure. So score predictions. I like what both of you have said. I actually think we're looking at a draw or a Chelsea win. So I will go 3-2 Chelsea.
I'll go 3-1 Chelsea.
3-1 Chelsea?
Yeah. I think they've got enough. Just think they've got enough.
I'm giving City 2 goals because of the likes of Haaland. De Bruyne can just pop out from anywhere and score an assist. But Chelsea's defence ain't all that. And that's the reason. Yes, they brought Chalobah back in, but that's the reason. Sanchez in goal. These are the reasons why they were never involved in a title race.
I'm going to go for a draw.
You're going for a
I'm
draw.
going to 2-2 draw.
Be a good result for Arsenal as well, that one. 2-2. I'm going 3-2. You're going 3-1. Let us know what you think in the chat and get your score predictions in right now. Massive game, this one, and we'll be talking about it on Monday